There's a new article making the rounds suggesting that Prince William deliberately turned his back on Meghan during the 2018 RAF centenary, as if he was sending a silent message. But here's the thing, I've looked at the footage and I don't think that's true. From what I see, William was being polite, positioning himself to avoid having his back to Meghan and Harry, while still maintaining formal royal protocol. And that's exactly what makes the contrast so sharp. Because Meghan, she tends to do the opposite. This same article also references Meghan's infamous Oprah moment where she says, I don't think it's fair to get into the details because she apologized. On the surface, that sounds mature, even protective, but it's not. It's a textbook narcissistic tactic, emotional inversion, and withholding accountability. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works with examples from real life that you may have experienced too. Let's get into it, but before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. The article I want to get into was just published and it's titled Exclusive: The Moment William Acted as a Human Shield Between Feuding Catherine and Meghan, According to Expert. I want to start off by saying that this expert is Judy James, and usually I don't agree with what she has to say. The funny thing is, I recently did another video where Judy James was the expert, and one of you, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, said, we shouldn't be asking Judy James. We should be asking the royal rogue. And I 100% agree with this sentiment. The article begins: The Queen led a day of national celebrations on July 10, 2018, which saw 100 airplanes, one for each year of the RAF, glide over the iconic balcony. And while all seemed smooth sailing on the surface, looking back to that day, eagle eyed royal observers have noticed a potential early sign that not all was well between Meghan and Catherine at the Westminster service. Let's pause here really quick. July 10, 2018, that would make it about 2 months after Harry and Meghan's wedding. We already know conflict had arisen by this point. We already know that Meghan had been difficult with staff at this point. Tiara Gate had happened, and Meghan allegedly bullied Princess Charlotte during the wedding preparations. So absolutely, it would not be odd to notice hesitations in the body language. Now, I do have to say, I don't agree with the assessment of what's happening. And I actually believe the converse is true, that really, Catherine and William were very good at trying to look like everything was smooth sailing. Let's continue the article. As Catherine, with Meghan behind her, greets the Dean of Westminster, the Very Reverend Dr. John Hall, Prince William steps in between them. Body language expert Judy James told Mail Online, superficially and with the benefit of hindsight, now that we know about the tricky relationship between Meghan and Catherine, this looks very much like a devoted and protective husband, strategically and very pointedly stepping between his wife and her nemesis in the form of a human shield. William's body language shows he is clearly aware that Harry and Meghan have honed into position behind him, and he immediately ducks his head to move to stand next to his wife, even sucking his lips inward in what is often a signal of regret. The encounter came months after Meghan and Catherine allegedly clashed over bridesmaids' dresses at Meghan's wedding. While accounts of what happened vary, initial reports suggested that Meghan had made Catherine cry during a disagreement over Princess Charlotte's outfit, which the Suits actress later denied. When I watch this clip, I see that William and Catherine are speaking to the Reverend, and Harry and William walk up. To be polite with them and to not exclude Meghan from the circle, William moves over to allow for there to be a half circle for conversation to occur between the five of them if possible. And then you'll see William step into place because they're getting ready for the ceremony. So in no way do I see any tension. I don't see William behaving rudely at all. I don't see William positioning himself between Catherine and Meghan, though that is a consequence of what happened just based on the order that they're standing. And I actually believe it shows great resolve and willpower to behave so professionally and be so composed. The article then gets into the Oprah interview. It says Meghan explained that Catherine was upset about something, but later took responsibility, apologized, and even brought her flowers. It wasn't a confrontation, Meghan said. I don't think it's fair to her to get into the details of that because she apologized. What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened to me. And the people who were part of our wedding were going to our comms team and saying, I know this didn't happen. I don't have to tell them what actually happened. The discussion served as yet another example of the late Queen's famous phrase, recollections may vary, which she famously used in response to the comments made by Harry and Meghan during the Oprah interview that an unnamed member of the family raised the issue of how dark their unknown baby Archie's skin would be while Meghan was pregnant. Though the bridesmaid's dress incident continues to be disputed, it remains one of the most talked about moments leading up to the Sussexes' wedding and a lingering factor in the family's rift. The article then says that the body language expert offered an alternative explanation. Judy said there is a spatial gap between William and Meghan that doesn't really show at this angle. When the royals greet their hosts at services like this, there is something of a royal queue with gaps that can turn into a logjam if a royal keeps chatting, as Catherine often can. I don't like Judy. I don't like Judy. All this talk calling her Kate and not Catherine, talking about how Catherine seems to chat a lot. That's the implication here, that if you allow Catherine, she's going to turn everything into a logjam, which is ridiculous because the one who has the mouth that won't stop talking with the word salad and everything is Meghan. The article continues, Meghan was new to the royal firm, and William's body language to this point had shown him being friendly and welcoming. This movement and change of position could be the kind of adjustment you make to the position of a group at a party when someone new comes to join in. Exactly. This is exactly what I see. The article continues, it is rude to keep your back to the newcomer as it is a sign of rejection, so we often shuffle to ensure we encompass the new arrival. Meghan would not have been allowed to join William and Kate here as the pecking order is firm, but it would be completely conceivable for a very polite William to move into place to ensure his back is not turned against her as she arrived behind him. He does move back as soon as the procession takes off so that his and Catherine's backs are naturally and inevitably turned to Harry and his wife. Yep, this is exactly what I see. And I'm going to put a couple of clips here that show that Meghan does not do the same thing. Meghan absolutely turns her back on people. She excludes people from conversations. I'm going to let those clips play, and you all let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think William was being accommodating? And do the clips I show you now demonstrate that Meghan does not have the same type of respect? All right, let's get into the entire Oprah thing. The first clip I'm going to show you, Oprah asks Meghan, did Catherine make you cry? Here's that clip.
Did you make Kate cry?
No. No.
When Meghan answers, she gives this closed lip smile, but it's not symmetrical. The left corner of her mouth pulls up quite high, and then she presses her lips together briefly right after. The combination to me is fascinating. That one-sided lift, especially on the left, can often read as a flash of contempt or contained satisfaction. It's subtle, but it gives the impression that she's not just denying the claim, she's flipping it with a quiet sense of triumph, almost like, no, and I'm glad you asked, so I could say it on the record. Then that lip press, that moment where she seals her mouth, it feels like restraint, like she's holding something back. It can read as someone who knows they've just delivered a sharp reversal and they're trying not to overplay it. So even though she's verbally calm and the response is minimal, just a no and a head shake, the expression underneath carries more heat than the words. There's this controlled satisfaction, like she's been waiting to say that. And she knows the power of letting it land without saying anything more. It's not explosive, it's quiet confidence, almost performative grace. But if you've ever dealt with someone who likes to rewrite a situation while staying perfectly composed, that kind of smile is familiar. Now let's watch that second clip.
I don't think it's fair to her to get into the details of that because she apologized.
Okay.
And I've forgiven her, right?
Okay.
And I've forgiven her, right?
So, at first glance, this sounds gracious, like Megan is trying to protect Catherine or avoid unnecessary drama. But when you look closer, it's a textbook example of emotional inversion, a tactic often used by people with narcissistic traits to control the narrative and dodge accountability, all while appearing benevolent. And this is how the inversion works. There's implied guilt without specifics. By refusing to get into the details, Megan implies that she's taking the high road. Catherine did something wrong. Otherwise, why would Catherine apologize? And the apology itself is evidence of guilt. But we're not told what Catherine did. This creates a power imbalance where Megan gets to frame the dynamic without exposing herself to challenge. It's a smokescreen of civility that still stains the other person's reputation. She's performing grace to mask control. Here, Megan is getting credit for being forgiving. She controls the story by suggesting resolution without actually offering any clarity, and it subtly casts Catherine as the wrongdoer while making Megan seem above it. This is reputation laundering disguised as emotional maturity. And finally, she is withholding details as a power move. When someone says, I won't get into it, they maintain mystery and moral superiority. In narcissistic dynamics, this kind of withholding is a tool to keep others confused or dependent on their version of events, a form of manipulative silence, not out of respect, but out of control. In relationships, this can look like, let's not bring that up again. You already said sorry. Or, I'm over it and I'll never forget what you did. Or, I could tell people the truth, but I won't for your sake. These phrases seem protective, but they are actually used to maintain leverage. Let me give you a couple of examples that you may have experienced this in your own life. In a romantic relationship, a partner says, I won't tell your friends how badly you messed up, even though you did, because I'm not petty. This sounds kind, but it's actually a veiled threat. It's saying, I hold the moral high ground and you're lucky I'm not using it against you. In a family, you could have a narcissistic parent who says, I won't embarrass you by repeating what you said at the party, even though it hurt me deeply. The translation here is, you're in the wrong, and now you owe me silence and compliance. In the workplace, it could be a colleague that says, I accepted their apology, so I won't escalate to HR for now. This implies the person was in the wrong without giving them a chance to defend themselves while keeping a threat quietly on the table. The emotional impact on the receiver is confusion. Wait, what did I actually do wrong? Guilt. They're being so mature, so I must be the problem. And finally, silence. You stop defending yourself out of fear of reopening the issue. This tactic cuts off conversation, growth, and resolution while keeping the narcissistic party in control of the emotional terrain. I'm curious to know what you think about all of this. Have you experienced something similar? If you feel comfortable sharing, please drop it in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.